Alrighty. We are Bizak. Do you guys like that? You like the little Armin? Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of that stuff lately. I'm actually going to a show called Electric Daisy Carnival, EDC, in 2 weeks, and I'm so freaking stoked. It has absolutely nothing to do with StarCraft, but it is going to be awesome. I'm actually going to make some like bracelets. You know, at raves you make bracelets called candy, and I'm going to put some StarCraft stuff on them. So I'll be that guy. Look for me there. So we're going to be getting into game number 2 of this 2-part cast of StarCasts. I think this is like number 13 or 14. I'll number it and upload on Twitch and YouTube when I'm done. But here we go. This is... Oh, before I start, have you guys ever like been playing around with your machine and like something really weird happens? Like I was just clicking around like my external hard drive, and when I plugged it in, my CD drive opened, like that thing that I never use anymore because it's like from the 20th century. Who uses CD drives? And it just freaked me out. I like plugged in and I went back to my typing and I looked over and it was like, and I was like, whoa! I thought there was like a virus or something. It was weird. Yeah, that was kind of a tangent. So we're gonna start this game really, really soon. And here it goes. Boom! It is another Coral Sky Island, and it is another TVZ. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, it is the Terran in the red trunks. It is our hero today. It is Forsaken. And in the top left-hand corner, his Zergy opponent. This time, it is Z5's Blaster. In the blue trunks, of course. So, we saw the first game that Forsaken made very, very good use of his early walling off ability right here and right here, and went ahead and then fortified his position, went on 2 bases, went for an all-in, did a lot of harassment early on, paid off big time as his Zerg opponent was trying to play greedy. Is he going to do it again? He will, in fact, start by building a supply depot, as all Terrans should. Unless you do some kind of crazy command center first cheese that probably isn't even possible, that I don't even know about, because I think you have to have a supply depot to build anything except another command center. Setting out early little scout in his overlord. This is actually a very good map for Zerg to scout. Remember, Zerg is, like I said last time, pretty favored on this map. You know, it's really easy to see what you're doing in your likely natural, to come in here. It's hard to wall these both off. I really do think it is still hard to wall these both off because you have to have a couple extra buildings. So that's why I really like this map, by the way. It changes things up. It makes a little bit of a difference. So Forsaken is going to be setting out an SCV scout. Looks like in this general vicinity, probably because he doesn't yet know that this map is cross spawns. I believe it's cross spawns only. You can in fact spawn here and here, but I'm not sure if that's well known yet or is in fact a complete piece of crap. And I'm not knowing what I'm talking about. But we'll see. Blaster takes himself a 15 hatch. And, of course, so just like his other opponent, or just like Forsaken's earlier opponent did, yeah. So right now, we're going to probably see an early Reaper, maybe straight into Factory Hellions. Don't know. The Scout hasn't quite come in yet. And if he sees this, if he sees that there is no hatch going down, or rather, a no spawning pool or an late spawning pool, yeah, he is, in fact, starting to build himself a Reaper to get that harassment in there. So, no second base taken early. Blaster knows that. But aside from that, not really much. Kind of decided to send his Overlord on home early. Did not want to sacrifice. Meanwhile, on our... Yep, that hatch was spotted by Forsaken on our Terran side of the field. So, Blaster, just about ready to finish his spawning pool, but here comes the first of potentially many Reapers coming on up the right side to do a bit of harassing damage. There will be Zerglings. Oh yes, there will be Zerglings, but they will not have speed anytime soon. So this guy could do a bit of damage if he wanted to. Not fully walling off right now. Forsaken is deciding to double down on his... Man, I had a total brain fart. Reapers. God, that was awful. What happened? So there goes the factory. A little bit delayed. Just a tiny bit. Here come the first of a couple of Zerglings. If he's carefully microed, Forsaken could in fact take both these back, but he's losing a lot of health in that Reaper, and he decides to finally start microing him. Speed's now being researched. Once this finishes up, those Reapers will be all but irrelevant. And 1 gas for Blaster, who is not actually harvesting out of it. But, okay. It's whatever. Easy thing to miss sometimes, I suppose. Another command center being built to take a third. Looks like, wow, a third might even be taken for the Terran before a third's taken for the Zerg. So if this, there's no serious attacks coming, Forsaken could get a serious macro advantage. And he's going to be setting his Reapers around the side. See what he can see. Possibly get a good angle on the Queen, but he doesn't. He does go ahead and goes straight to the natural and starts taking out, well, good move, putting down a Spore Crawler just before that. Wow, nothing really lost just before that drone kicked the bucket there. I think this is just from maybe 1 drone or a couple of Zerglings being taken out. So, link speed just about done. Reapers not super effective this matchup, but we're going to start seeing some Hellions. And just like last time, this command center is up and running and is upgrading itself to an orbital. Third command center being very, very macro game to prevent the drops. We see a couple of Overlords over here. And a third base being taken for the Zerg, who only has a couple of links. So we are seeing not a lot of early attacks, mostly just a little bit of harassing aggression. And the barracks will start pumping up Marines while the Hellions get massed up. Once they get to 4, we'll probably see them coming out for a bit of a run-by. The Zerg is making no attempt whatsoever to wall off. Only a few creep tumors right now. And the third base, of course, being entirely vulnerable, except for these Lings that are about to run in and discover there is nothing they can do against this wall at this time. And they're going to have to go on home before they get completely flamed up by those couple of Hellions. The rock's being taken out very slowly by this one very patient Marine. And an E-base starts going up. Meanwhile, Lings go back on home. So, Stim is now being researched. We see a couple of Evolution Chambers coming down for Blaster, who's not making this part of a wall-off. So he really wants the mobility to be able to attack from all the angles. Kind of a toss-up if this is a good or bad choice for Zerg. Because he could make it part of a wall-off here if he started spreading his creep everywhere, but that is difficult to do. Overlord's going to get forced back. And we're going to see, to follow up these Hellions, we're going to see a couple of Reapers as well, who, yeah, of course, since they're near to useless anyways, they might as well. They're actually just going to patrol up the side here. A couple more Hellions come in. The Overlord spots it all. What's he going to do about it, though? So a couple of Links come in to hopefully defend this base, and we're going to see these Hellions coming on in. Even though there are a decent number of Zerglings with speed, these Hellions, unless microed very effectively against, these Hellions are going to do a lot of damage. And if they focus fire down the Queen, uh-oh, there we go. Trying to not get us around. Ooh, this is getting very, very close, very, very dangerous, but that Queen is going to go down. But if he's not careful, Forsaken's going to lose a couple of those Hellions, and he does not. Takes down the Queen. Fires down a couple more Links as they come out. Another Queen pops up just in time. But right now, unless he's really careful, Forsaken is in good shape. He gets right up against that mineral patch to prevent losses. He loses 1. He loses 2 of his Hellions. Still has a couple more. 3 now. Oh, but the Zergling surround is going to be pretty good. A couple of those Reapers do go down, and the Hellions have to go on back home. Sustained some heavy losses, but I do think the Terran player made it out much better, especially taking down that Queen. Right behind this, he's going to be building a couple of barracks, 4 barracks, 4 barracks as an army. Sorry, I got a little too excited there. And he has a couple of Widow Mines ready to come on out. The starport is going to go down right there. Yeah. We're going to see some Widow Mine drops. So right now, what's the Zerg going to be doing? He's taking 1 and 1. He is building a Spire to hopefully prevent any sort of nonsense and catch these guys out of position if there is in fact drops coming out. But he's going to have to be all over the map if he wants that to happen. Forsaken is already halfway done with the starport, and an attack really needs to happen right now if some economic damage is going to be dealt. But there are some Widow Mines in key positions, really, really good positions. In fact, this map is good for Widow Mines, if not other things. Heavily, heavily saturated on both these bases, but Forsaken is in fact taking a third. That Ling is going to see that, but if he moves out, won't be too much trouble. Spines and Spores coming down, not at the main, but at the third and at the natural, so to prevent these drops. But the Widow Mine drops are going to be still very, very deadly, and the Ling comes in to prevent that orbital command from dropping down, because that makes sense. You can't drop on a Ling. Okay. A couple of Hellions come in to clean that one up. And some Marines. Orbital Command will drop. A couple of Mules coming out just out of the gates. And we're going to see another hatchery, a macro hatch of sorts being built up for Blaster, who's also researching Burrow, Baneling Speed, and getting his 2/2s. So he's may or may not be really committing heavily to this air, just having a couple of mutas to pick off any incoming drops. I'm guessing, based on his upgrades, he's also building an infestation pit, so he's looking to tech to hive. Probably get, I want to say, swarm hosts? He's going to have a couple of lings in here, but again, against this composition, lings are probably not all he needs. Well, not a lot of heavy hellions at this time, but he doesn't know what's coming up. A lot of widow mines. I guess he doesn't really know about the widow mines just yet. Here they come. The lings and banes with speed are going to pull back. But if they get a good surround, and they won't because, well, they get a couple of those guys, but here come the drops, and a couple of mutas are out on the field as well. It's going to get fired down. Excellent work. There are only about 5 mutas, and they were able to clean up that drop, mothership, core, brain fart. Fourth hatch coming down right now for Blaster, but that dropship, that medevac, I'm thinking Brood War, just got cleaned up. So the macro hatch, not a lot producing out of that right now. More lings on the way. We're going to see a ling muta composition all the way through, and the widow mines are going to have something to say about that, though. This force is reasonably sized and moving out just on an intercept course. Uh-oh, who's going to get there first? Oh, and the lings are going to run by. Oh, no, and there they go. Uh-oh, they connect with a couple of widow mines and do take a good chunk of them out. Oh, Forsaken is in trouble now, even with those medevacs. A lot of lings, and no, widow mines survived that initial attack. One marine is saved, and the medevacs have to go on home. Blaster had excellent luck there, but he's going to have even better if he wants to get past these widow mines on either side of this base. Excellent walling off of shooting the rubble, by the way. Really well done. That does actually make the base pretty good. So the Zerg is not going to be pressing his advantage too much. He's just going to be taking a couple of mutalisks out, trying to take out this armory. Probably not going to get there because these marines or these widow mines are going to get there in time. Yeah, missile turrets down. These are not going to do much without being in critical mass. Mutalisk is going to have to go on home. But they do scout it. They know what's out there. And a drop is being set up on the high ground over here. Probably to head straight into the fourth base, but there are some lings and banes there to intercept it. A critical force of lings and banes over here with some overseers to pick off anything that comes their way. The Zerg is in really good shape, but the Terran is also macroing super effectively. Right now, the supply lead is in favor of Forsaken, who is getting 3 and 3 Infestor energy upgrades and ling upgrades, and 3/3s on the way as well. A lot more overlords. So we're going to see some Infestors, I'm guessing. Yes, Infestors and a couple of burrowed banelings as well. Oh man, if they had detonated right then, well, a little bit of a miss it would have been, but not too bad. Burrowed banelings are not something I actually see as often, even though this is Masters. I do see it more at that level of play, but I don't see it at an earlier level. And the widow mines are going to get a couple of good hits off, but the medevacs are going to pick up most of the marines and go on home, so the banelings detonate against little, if anything. Oh, those burrowed banelings right now, they would do a lot of damage. Oh, if only Blaster was microing them. Oh, come on. Kindness plating now being researched, so we're going to see a transition to Ultralisks. And there they go. A little bit off position, so Forsaken, not a super good one, but still decent connections for Blaster. A lot more barracks go down, committing to this Bioforce. And yeah, excellent micro of his Marines with these medevacs picked up by Forsaken. Well done, and killing off the creep as it comes in. This is some stellar play out of our Terran player, and he's got a little bit of a Bioforce over here on the Biomine Force over here on the shoulder. But we're going to see, yep, a couple of Ultralisks do come out, and they're going to say, I don't even give a damn about your mines. And a couple of Mutalisks, I think this is in fashion to have about half a dozen to pick off drops. Usually a good idea. This drop is going to be reasonably cleaned up, maybe by the couple of Lings and Banes. Not really sure about that. Looks like it is. A couple of widow mines still out on the side though. Now we're gonna see a couple of spines coming up, and yeah, at that fourth, nothing doing there, but a critical force of marines and mines burrowing just in time to start firing down these Ultralisks who have nothing, absolutely nothing behind them. They're gonna have to run on home because those are expensive units. In the meantime, more and more being produced. A couple of Infestors coming out of the field now. Finally, looks like Blaster is trying to fungal those down so he can, in fact, utilize his Ultralisks a lot more effectively. But he has a very expensive army composition. Lings and Banes are the cheapest thing he has, and they're going to have to roll away so they don't get taken down right now. Here they come. And yeah, picked up right away. That is a pretty good force, though. I'm not really sure how's the advantage right now. These Widow Mines are in a good spot on the map, keeping the Zerg contained, but enough of these Ultralisks out there, it's not going to matter too much. Oh, and a couple of mutas are taken out. So right now, no expansion for either player. They're both kind of playing it safe, keeping their units more or less in the middle of the field. A lot of Ultralisks, but a lot of mines, as well as a decent number of medevacs on the field for our Terran player, who still holds a 20 supply lead. And we're going to see the unit count, the worker count is probably, yeah, in the favor of Forsaken, actually, who is going to opt to take yet another base, and it's not going to be seen or really able to be defended by the Zerg player. So right now he is losing his macro edge by sitting here and doing nothing. He needs to be moving out, taking a base here, taking a base here, taking out that Widow Mine to be able to take that base there. But right now Forsaken is the one on the offense, and if they're not careful, these infestors are going to get fired down by those mines. Oh boy, baiting it out. The Mutalisks are way out of position, but a good fungal goes down, and a couple of infested Terrans being spawned to deal some more damage and hopefully bait those Widowmine hits, who are doing a lot of damage. But the Ultralisk Infestor combo right now says, nope, I don't even care. Medevacs have to go on home. Good Infestors, good Fungals, but as soon as these Widowmines get charged on back up, we're going to see a lot more hits, but nothing there, but Infested Terran's going to see it. Well, alright, now we have a dead even supply lead, lots of Ultras, lots of Widowmines and Marines still out on the field, and Marauders, so this is a very, very dedicated force. Forsaken says, no, I'm going to win this on Biomine, I can do it, I have my upgrades, I'm getting Drilling Claws, I am getting myself some building armor just because, hell yes, that's what I want. Right now, I think the Zerg has the advantage, just because he has tech switched a little bit more effectively, and yeah, he can really just run over these mines. The Lings are not the focus of his army. The Ultras can take those hits, and if he gets good Fungals, it's not going to matter that there are a lot of mines, that there are a lot of Medevacs, because they can all be Fungaled. He just has to be very careful with his Micro and with his Infestors, who really are not dying right now, so forcing back across the field is Blaster, who's Forsaken, now is having to make a full retreat, and there are just words coming out of my mouth, some of which make sense, some of which don't. Please bear with me as I try to say the things that my brain is attempting to say. But he might be a little overextended here. Blaster, if he's not careful, yeah, a couple more Widow Mines, taking a lot of hits right now, these Ultralisks, but they are going to be able to fire down this command center. And this command center that's going to a planetary, and a lot of the SCVs have to get pulled right now, but spreading himself really thin. Blaster's got to be really careful, or he's going to take a heavy, heavy amount of damage. He is going to actually force the lift of this command center, and a bunch of SCVs are going to have to head on home at this third, but he hasn't even seen this fourth. He doesn't know it's there. He marched straight over there. Now he's got to know it's there. The Infestors are coming, but I think he spread himself a little bit too thin. He is going to be going straight to Corruptors. Don't know why he's not remaxing on his Ultralisks. He did pretty well with those, to be honest. But yeah, he spent a lot of his army, and right now the supply lead is still in his favor, but not by a lot. So Planetary Fortress coming in, firing down those Ultralisks. The SCVs are on the repair. Fungal's coming down, but this is a really bad time for Blaster to be engaging. He's losing his Ultras. They are focusing left and right. Oh, but those Fungals, oh my god, those Fungals, they're so good. They are just so good, but the Ultras, without Ultras now, there's really nothing left to stop the small Bioforce that's still coming, and it looks like Blaster has that on home. He's losing a lot of expensive units. Forsaken still does not have that supply lead, but before long, the last Infestor goes down, and once again, map control is back in Forsaken's favor. This is a very, very intense game, much more back and forth than the last one, and Blaster remaxing again on Lings, Corruptors, and one Ultralisk? Okay. But right now, forcing the lift and moving over to this area. Sorry, not forcing the lift. There was no command center there. Nothing doing. Looks like the Zerg is moving back again across the field, ready to take out this command center. Probably sending a couple of Banelings in. Yep, here we go. And these Corruptors here ready to take out the Medevacs if need be. There they go down, but a big Bioforce coming in. The Banelings have to be catching up, otherwise those Corruptors and the Ultras are going to be fired down without a whole lot to show for it. Decent-sized Bioforce still engaging. But Blaster says, I don't want any of that. I'm gonna go move my army on up ahead. And there we go, good engagement. Very, very good back and forth. Very, very good micro on both the players. The unit's loss is like really close to even, slightly in favor of the Terran, but the Zerg can take a lot of losses. He's got a lot of bases, man. But the macro advantage is all in the Terran's favor. And the mines, oh god, these mines, these big hits, even with these Ultras, not sure what he can do. There are just a lot of Bioforces still out on the field. And yeah, the command center has to get lifted. Oh my god, even more Lings to come in for the run by. But this base is just allowed to continue to mine. Right now, this is not what Blaster needs to be doing. He needs to be taking out that base, cutting off anything he can, keeping a burrowed ling there. That is good, but to make sure that another base is taken. But 4 bases to 4 bases is not a good trade for the Zerg. Heading on back home, losing a lot of units. I think the tides are going to turn in the Terran's favor if something doesn't change very quickly. Committing to this biomine force. Committing to this biomine force with a lot of medevacs to save his bacon. Forsaken is doing an excellent job. Right now, a good tech switch, though, by Blaster. It really was. And unfortunately, he does not really have enough ultras to do it. Maybe if he transitioned a couple of these corruptors into broodlords and kept them off, kept the Widowmines from doing that, that would be pretty solid. But right now, it's just going to be a war of attrition with Widowmines pretty much all over the map. A couple of burrowed lings all over the map as well. And just to annoy the opponents, just to keep seeing things going. A giant drop is going to be coming out right now. But what's this? There is a large force of ultras, lings, and banes moving out on the field. And I believe no corruptors. They're going to stay at home. What are they going to do, though? A couple of drops coming out. They are seen. But I'm not really sure. The forces are being split right now to prevent any aggression over here on this right side. I suppose just some Marines are being dropped. There is one mine. But here comes a gigantic force. Forsaken is moving out into his own heavily mined territory, sees that Blaster has a lot. He has been neglecting creep spread ever since it was fired down earlier in the game. Here he comes with an ancillary force. Meanwhile, he will be pushing out with this giant biomine force, forcing a couple of banelings and lings to come in there, forcing the main force away from the base. A lot of force is going on right now, but a little bit late to the party. Forsaken is going to march in, and that's a lot of banelings. He better get back if he doesn't want to lose all of his units. Oh, mismicroing the infestors. Losing a couple more infestors. Blaster is now in a little bit of trouble, but he does get a lot of good fungals off. And here come the Ultralists. They are bumping up against one another because they are just big and slow and clumsy. But here they go. My God, they have those crazy jaws. And this excellent kiting by Forsaken. His units are just so low right now, but he's heading back to where he has some defense. His planetary fortresses absolutely shredding those remaining Ultralists. They're going to get fired down, and the trades are just not going in Blaster's favor. He has to remax again, and he has lost a lot more than the Terran has lost. He needed those fungals. He needed a lot more of those fungals to be able to go down, and right now, against this heavy biomine composition, he has to head on home, and soon he's going to have to pack it in. This might even be GG, as the Terran just continues to push out, parade style, heavily just firing down anything in his way. And again, remaxing is Blaster, but with excellent kiting and excellent micro, Forsaken just says, nope, I'm going to pick up, I'm going to go home, and I'm going to go straight into your main base. Or maybe not. Well, okay. But he is continuing to max with Widowmines, Marines, and Marauders, and Medevacs. So, full upgrades for both these players. Right now, it's really just going to come down to these little back and forths. It is going to be very intense in that fashion from here on out. Hopefully, we'll see a couple more bases taken. In fact, we are going to see Forsaken attempting to take this base, but there's a burrowed ling, so he won't be able to right away. And, yeah. Kaboom. Goes the dynamite. So, engaging in these little necks, these little choke points, is a really good idea for Blaster. Is a really good idea for Forsaken, who is able to just do stuff like that. He's able to take advantage of his ranged Marines and Marauders and suffer very little of those attacks, of those fungals. But another fungal does come down now that he's moved in. Even so, Forsaken is still in really good shape because he has this planetary fortress doing a lot of damage. The Ultra's overextending every single time. If they can come in and clean up a bunch of these guys, a bunch of these SCVs, that might be better. But right now, they're not committing to it. And right now, mind out, Blaster is. He needs to take another base. He's not. The income is plummeting for the Zerg player. He's not focusing on what's going on back home. And Forsaken is about to take a huge lead right now. Every single subsequent force we see, Blaster not able to take any more commanding leads or really anything. A couple of medevacs are going to get fired down, but it's not going to matter too much. There's nothing in them. And again, every single time, this force is going to get thinner and thinner. Blaster really needs to be taking another base. Even though they're about equal on minerals right now, we need to see more bases taken because the Terran is doing just that there and there. or trying to at least, and this is looking more and more like an all-in from Blaster. So a lot of SCVs there, caught way out of position, but is that going to matter too much? I don't know, because there's a lot of Widow Mines here, and those Lings are going to get fired down very quickly, as well as, yeah, there we go. So nothing much doing. The Banelings were not quite in position to take them out. Blaster does not have nearly enough forces to deal with what is coming out of this Terran player. He even doesn't have a supply lead right now. Yes, he's able to take out that forming planetary fortress. Yes, maybe he's able to fend off this attack. Maybe not. This hatch is going to get fired down. One of the last mining bases. Blaster's in a lot of trouble right now. In fact, that was the last mining base. So the income is going to be dropping quite a lot for a Zerg player, even though it also is for the Terran. He still has a couple more mining bases, and this one is going to be mining pretty soon. I think the Terran's got this, but that's just me. We'll see if my prediction holds true, or it'll be like Artosis. Alrighty then. Still, long-distance mining, not rebuilding the hatch at all. Very, very focused on his standing forces, which are dwindling by the minute. Blaster now down to 111 out of 168, and Forsaken is also very, very low. A couple of drops coming in to harass, continuing to harass. Well, I think that might be all she wrote for Blaster. Not able to remax, not having a whole lot of minerals, not having a whole lot of income even. Yeah, this is just about it, and he's not really microing his guys very effectively. So, based on the amount of income that our Terran player is going to start getting very, very soon, I think we're going to see a GG sometime soon. But it is about 34.5 minutes into the game and showing no signs of slowing down just yet. Very heavy, heavy macro game, but also very action-packed. But right now, both players are running themselves ragged, not able to produce a whole lot. And Blaster says the GG, knows he can't compete with what's out. And that's the game. And, wow! Wow, that was intense. That was a really close one, too. I mean, it could have gone either way. I know I said Forsaken was going to take it, just based on how the macro was going. But, oh my god, that really was back and forth for the longest time. A really excellent switch-up, tech switch-up by Blaster. He did super well. I was impressed. I got to go and cook my food, but I'm going to give Blaster and Forsaken the GG button. I'll be uploading this on YouTube. Guys, cheers. Till next time. I am ForsakeNxE, and you get treated to this screen. And I guess I'll play myself out.